And the minute I got okay with the absolute worst possible outcome, I let it go. Now, the end of the story is none of that ever happened. He was completely exonerated and went on. But that's how he stopped living like this every day. That's the same concept I want you to understand that we're going to talk about today. Here's how to lead yourself. So the next time someone says your business grows to the extent that you do, and you have to lead yourself before you can lead others, you get to go back to these quick principles. And I'm going to actually do my best to get you out of here early so everybody can keep working on their tan. So basically,
about our business?
so yeah, did I say that out loud? Did I say tan?
I'm scared people.
Linwood, you don't have to.
Yo, now I'm telling you, Studios, like the whole, I gotta cover, I gotta work
Oh, let me get that visual out of my head. On Goose Lake, right? Anyways, okay, sorry, come back. So what do you have to do to lead yourself? And what Maxwell tells us is that a leader has to self-manage. So we have to manage ourselves. Okay, again, sounds great, but what do we have to manage? And I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you, I believe it's 7 specific things to manage that will help you grow your leadership. The first one, and I love that this is the first one for our business because I hear about this all the time. Manage your emotions. There's a bold law, keep your emotions between the lines. Manage your emotions, and here's what he means by that. Nobody wants to be around an out-of-control person. He has a study that cites people with emotional problems are 144% more likely to have auto accidents than those who don't have them. The same study evidently found out that 1 out of 5 victims of fatal accidents had been involved in a quarrel with another person in the 6 hours preceding the accident. Nobody wants to be around an emotional time bomb. I hear it every day. You guys walk in my office and say, I have a deal with so-and-so. He just ripped me a new one. I can't believe this person just chewed me. You know, here's what that is. That's not managing your emotions, right? Because we let our emotions dictate the process. Now, real estate's a really emotional thing, right? There's a ton of stress involved. And if there is any career and business in which it is difficult to manage your emotions, you've got a buyer living in an RV outside of a house. True story, happening right now. Right now. I could go on. You've got a buyer that's driven from Florida across the country, shows up, is living in their RV because the house hasn't closed, and they're upset. I mean, you guys know all the scenarios. You're all playing them in your head. And it's very easy to not manage your emotions during that time. And that's the test of leadership. How do you pull it back and rein it in? Now, again, managing your emotions means sometimes you need to let it fly. Sometimes it's important for people to see you passionate, and maybe that's a righteous anger. Maybe that's a passionate conviction. I mean, there's times when you need to show your emotions to inspire and motivate and push people. You have to learn when and where to pull the trigger. And that's part of leadership, managing your emotions. If you look throughout the military history, my coach, Mike Fleming, is a veteran, and he graduated from the Citadel, which is military college. So suffice it to say that most of the analogies that I get on my coaching calls are military analogies. And having grown up with a dad that was General Patton, I totally relate to it. So many times, though, the stories are about the fact that the leader, in the middle of total chaos, people dying, things happening, what does that leader always do? Maintains control. Are they grieving that their men are dying? Oh, are you kidding? I watched Saving Private Ryan on Memorial Day. It was on HBO or something. I'd flown down to Portland to get certified to teach 40X, and I had a couple hours in the room, and that was on. And that's what kept coming out to me in watching that movie, is the leadership of the character played by Tom Hanks. Limbs are flying off, and he continues, even though it's tearing him apart, to just maintain that emotional control. And guess what? Do you think his men needed them to do that? What if they'd fallen apart? You know? There's a scene in that movie where 2 of his men are like coming to blows with each other. guns are pulled, and one of them saying, I quit, I'm not risking my life to go after this guy, this one person, this is bogus, I'm out of here, and they're just spitting at each other. And they're waiting for him to step in, and he doesn't step in, and he doesn't step in, and finally he does. And when he comes in, instead of, I thought, how would I have handled that situation? You get your butt back in line. I don't know what I would have done. And he comes in and says, what's the vet up to? Because they had a bet to find out what he used to be before he was in the military. Like he stops and looks, says 400, 500, how many bucks? I was an English teacher. And then he goes on, and he's so calm, and he completely mediates the situation because he managed his emotions. Guys, don't let the person across the deal from you dictate your ability to manage your own emotions. They have absolutely no control over you. And oh, by the way, the most powerful way to be in control of a negotiation is when you're not affected by them blowing a gasket. When they're spinning donuts over there and you're remaining calm, as hard as it may be, guess who's in the driver's seat? So now who's being protected in that deal? Your client. And oh, by the way, why are we doing real estate? To help and serve our clients. So managing your emotions is the first piece of self-management. Managing your time. Boy, we never talk about this here at Keller Williams. So I know this is a new concept for you guys. Shayna's other name is time block, by the way. If you want to learn about time blocking, go to the master, because she's the best at it. There's a quote that he has in here, a psychiatrist and an author, Scott Peck, says, until you value yourself, you will not value your time. Until you value your time, you will not do anything with it. If you say to yourself, in 5 years, I will save enough money to buy that vacation house, then what you're really saying is that house will cost you 1/12 of your adult life. Spending time is not just a metaphor. You're actually doing it. And we've done this before, right? Exercises where you work the math, what's your time worth? You know, and you've heard us talk, so I won't stay too long on this because we've taught a lot about it, about how it's so important in your business to find the little efficiencies, and how saving 5 minutes a day on a process or a system, you may go, well, that's 5 minutes a day, no big deal. Well, 5 minutes a day times 5 days a week is 25 minutes. It's almost a half an hour. Let's just round it up and say, would it take you a little extra? So now you're talking about 2 hours a month. Well, now 2 hours a month is 24 hours in a year. That's a whole day. Now I'm here to tell you, with a daughter that just graduated and a son that's walking out the door next year right behind her, I'd pay $1 million for one more day. Sound like a Rascal Flatts song. But I would pay $1 million for one more day with those kids at home. Just would. So is that 5 minutes worth something? Yeah. Exponentially over time, it's worth a ton. So manage your time. Number 3, manage your priorities. Again, not something we talk about very often here either. Jim Collins in the book, The Good to Great. Anybody ever read that book or heard of it? Most of us lead busy but undisciplined lives. We have ever-expanding to-do lists, trying to build momentum by doing and doing and doing and doing more, and it rarely works. Those who build the good to great companies, however, have made as much use of stop-doing lists, we call them not to-do lists, as the to-do list. They displayed a remarkable amount of discipline to unplug all sorts of extraneous junk. This class is going to really help as well, 4DX, because what we're talking about here is drilling down on priorities. 80% of the time, you work where you're strongest. 15% of the time, you work where you're learning. 5% of the time, you work in other necessary areas. You have to be, he uses the word ruthless in the judgment of what you do. Understand that. The rest is important as well, so you got to find ways to get it done. But be clear on where you spend your time. And you know, I really believe that we have kind of fallen into this fallacy in real estate that it's a badge of honor. And we talked about this the other day. It's a badge of honor to be a martyr to time. It's like, well, oh, I'm so busy. I have 700 emails. That to me is actually the opposite. And I don't want to be judgmental or condescending to anybody who's there, so please don't hear that in my voice. But what I'm saying is that's not a badge of honor. That's finding your identity and being crazy and incredibly busy, but maybe not moving anywhere forward, just spinning your wheels really, really fast. So get real clear on where your time is and where you're using it. The fourth thing you have to manage, and this is the one that I get, you guys know, you've heard me talk about it, uber passionate about, is managing your energy. Because I believe that energy is the most valuable commodity that you have in your possession. Time, repetitive, I know, but bear with me. I've said it before. You get a new reset every morning. And Nathan in Portland doesn't have any more allotment of time than me in Anchorage. We all get 24 hours. It's, well.
I don't know. What's daylight at midnight?
Fair point. Workable hours, yeah. The truth is that nobody has a deal with God. Nobody has a special deal that you get more than 24 hours and it renews tomorrow. Doesn't matter how you frivol it away or use it wisely, the next day you get a new 24 hours. Energy is not that way. When energy is gone, you have to work to renew it. You have to rest, you have to eat right, you have to spend time with your family, you have to have meditation time, you have to be physically active, you have to go build the energy up. So therefore, I propose that energy is a more valuable commodity than time. So managing your energy is even more important. So that's my question now. It's not how much time will I spend. My first question is always, how much energy will this take from me? Matt gets tired of hearing it in our weekly meetings, you know, say, what are you going to do about this? I'm not putting any energy to that. And he's like, oh, for the love, Jen, you're crazy. But that's what, to me, is the most important thing.
I'm listening to a conference call called The Way We're Working Isn't Working, and he's got a website called theenergyproject.com. You can actually go there and take a free 20-question quiz that'll show you where you are energy-wise, spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I thought that was a really great resource.
Well, and understand that your energy waxes and wanes throughout the day, right?
He says it goes a 90-minute cycle.
Sure. And so, I mean, yesterday, prime example, I got up super, super early yesterday morning, earlier than I normally do. My kid was flying from Durham, so at 4:20 in the morning, I was on the phone with him and couldn't go back to sleep because it was broad daylight, so got up and went out the door and did my exercise and stuff. And Nathan and I were sitting at a regional conference call at 2 o'clock, and what happened?
We both were like, oh, done.
It was like a Mack truck came out of nowhere and just ran us over. Energy gone, right? So that's okay. That's your body clock. That's your energy. So what do I know from that? I know how to manage it. Now, if I'm going to have a big meeting with a recruit, this is my world, or a listing appointment with a great seller, or a buyer consultation, if I can control it, I'm going to set that to my strength time. When is my energy at its peak performance? There's a reason we have our staff meetings in the morning, because we're all ready to roll. If we had it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we'd all be like,
I'd be there.
We'll do that. Okay. But you know what? Know your own clock, but play to your strengths, right? Manage your energy. Number 5, manage your thinking. What he means by this is not just your thoughts, become your actions, and your actions dictate results, and results become your paradigm, which become your thoughts again. What he means is strategic thinking. In other words, you have to plan your life. So he says, Maxwell proposes that you should allot time to think. He says 1 minute spent thinking is better than an hour spent doing sometimes. So you get a great, you guys are entrepreneurs. You have ideas always coming out of your brain. Great ideas, lots of good ideas that you say no to. What if you were to carve out sometime during the week? I'm not talking every day. I'm talking once a week, where you sit down and you just think about your business. Think about your family. Think about your whatever it is that's on your radar at that moment. Strategize. Flesh out your ideas. Are you creative? Are you a blogger? Do you want to write? This is a great time to throw an outline down. I grew up watching this modeled, and I'm so grateful for this. And it's because my dad had to study to do his job. You don't walk into the pulpit and preach a sermon and not have it prepared, which means you sit and study. Well, I guess some people do. But so I have this vision, which is so funny because I am the exact same way now, and it is freaky. Every single night, go and say goodnight to my dad. We have family prayer time, and my mom, and he's sitting in bed, covers sitting straight up, pillow, books, books, notebook, and he's thinking and writing and reading. I watch that model literally every day. So now at about 10 o'clock at night, you can find me sitting in my bed with either my laptop open or my books and writing, and that's where I think. And many of you get texts from me during that time because that's what's happening. I'm thinking about you, I'm thinking about the market center, I'm thinking about a great idea, or how are we gonna execute this strategy. But those things don't happen if you don't carve out time to think about it. Every person in this room, I know all of you at some level. I know enough of each of you to say each person in this room is gifted with a great mind. Use it. Too many people go through life, they don't think, they just react. How much further ahead of the competition can you be? Let's just talk business. If you think, and you know the two words that I like to use to define how you think, what are they? Strategic and critical. Strategic and critical thinking. So manage your thinking. Number 6, manage your words. What he means by this is, I'm just going to say it like it is, shut your mouth. We fill the silence, right? When I got my real estate license, I started to talk about my dad a lot, but obviously I've got a lot of family time going on this summer, so it's there. When I got my license, I modeled something that my dad did. When he moved denominations and went to the Presbyterian Church in America years and years ago, it doesn't matter if that doesn't mean anything to you or not, he would go to the annual convention. And he put a rule on himself that he would not speak for 2 years. Not to other people, but like on the floor. Until he had earned the right by learning from those around him to speak. So when I got my real estate license, I thought, makes sense. So I sat in the sales meetings at Dynamic Properties. I did not speak for 2 years because I didn't have the right to. I didn't know. Now, that may be a little extreme to some of you, but you get the point, right? I learned to manage my words. Silence is not bad, and it's not bad to not speak. And we have to learn when to talk and when to be quiet. I saw this post on Facebook and I shared it. There's a time to speak and a time to be silent. So when your mind goes blank, don't forget to cut off the volume. Right? What is the saying about the man who is silent is thought wise? I don't know how it exactly goes, but you guys know what I'm
It's
talking
better
about.
to be thought stupid and open your mouth and you walk out.
Yeah, it's better to be thought stupid and open your mouth than wise and remain silent. Manage your words, because talking all the time just to hear yourself talk does not lead yourself or lead others around you. Now, I'm not saying we all walk around, mute at all. I'm saying be judicious and learn to lead yourself. When is it time to speak and when is it time to be quiet? 7th one, final one. Manage your personal life. I just got into preach zone. Sorry. Managing your personal life. Guys, the truth is, I don't want to get into this isn't a political thing, but this is the truth. Personal and professional are inextricably linked because we cannot compartmentalize. I don't care how much you say you can do it, you can't. Yesterday, I had some stuff going on with my kid trying to fly out of Durham to get to Seattle, and he has to be there a certain time, and 2 planes were grounded, and he's 17, and I'm not there. His dad is there, perfectly capable of handling it, and I'm not, and it's driving me crazy. And my ex-husband finally had to say, hey, I got it. Relax, stop worrying. But ask Nathan, he was sitting with me, I was distracted. I was definitely distracted at multiple times during the day because I can't compartmentalize that. And to try and do it is just futile. But managing your personal life is so important. Leading those around you, leading those around you, leading your family. I'm not saying you have to have a perfect life. We all have challenges. We all have kids that go crazy for a while. We all have crazy circumstances in our life. But be in control of your personal life because people are watching. It's the 2 things I tell my children every day. Someone is always watching you. Always. Always, 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 whether you think so or not. And never believe your own press. Stay humble. Best advice you can have. Yes?
Make big choices, choose the right.
Absolutely.
There's a right and a wrong usually to every question. Some of them get a little sticky, but when you boil it down, drill it down, there's the right decision to make. Make the right decision, that will really simplify a lot.
Integrity, do the right thing.
Well, I mean, what's the
No matter
next,
what.
yeah. So, and here's, you know, when it comes to managing your personal life, I'll give you two things that my mother used to say to me that I used to hate her for. Not hate her, but just get so mad as a kid growing up and be like, because she was right and I knew it, but I didn't want to admit that she was right. So I would say, well, can I go do blah, 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 go to this party, or go to do this, or do whatever. And she would say, I don't know about that, hon, and let's talk it through. And I'd say, well, what's wrong with it? She would always say, well, you're asking the wrong question. What do you mean? I'd say, well, the question is, what's right with it? Well, don't say that. Because that just makes sense. You know, and when you ask yourself that question in your personal life as you're making choices, not what's wrong with it, but what's right with it, it puts you in a different position of having to make that argument in your head over what decision to make. And then the other thing that she would always say to me is, you know, when you're walking through, and it doesn't matter if it's a decision in real estate, if it's, I mean, you guys have some tough decisions to make in deals, right? Where honestly, it's gray. I mean, it's not black and white. Real estate is not black and white. And that's frustrating. That's why you come and call your broker for help. But so many times, I remember these 2 points. Not asking what's wrong with it, but asking what's right with it. And the second thing is there's a line between right and wrong. Right? We all know that. So I would always, my mom, I remember one time saying, your goal in life is not to get as close to that line as you possibly can without going over it. Your goal in life is to be as far away from that line as you possibly can, so you never are in danger of going over it. And it just is a good decision paradigm to work out of. Yes, sir.
Many times, I mean, I answer a lot of questions for people around here, and sometimes the answer I give is not what they're looking for, okay?
Well, we're
And,
trying to find a way to figure out what's wrong with it.
Yeah, and you know, if you did something wrong, you did something wrong. It is what it is. You know? And what I enjoy most about people here is when they hear they did it wrong or whatever, they walk away okay to fix it.
Yeah.
Rather than.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
responsive and coachability, absolutely.
Yeah.
So real quickly, I'll just recap them for you, and you can walk away with this and choose to use this as you will. But so 7 things to manage. Manage your emotions, manage your time, manage your priorities, manage your energy, manage your thinking, manage your words, and manage your personal life. There's your step-by-step to how to lead yourself. I guarantee you, like I would bet the farm, that when you lead yourself, you'll look back one day and you're going to say there's a lot of people following, whether you know it or not. They just will. So, hope this is helpful for you. Thank you guys for being here. Oh, would you what? Oh, Sam's, I'm so sorry. Do you want to make the announcement?
Oh,
since you
yeah,
set that up
if we
with them?
will, just exit through the kitchen. Sam's is here
Sam's Club.
with some snacks and stuff like that. They've got some special offers and things like that. So they've got snacks for you through this direction.
We feed you. We always feed you.
We try to
We
find
love
ways.
to find ways to
try to
feed
find
you.
Did we
someone
sing
else to
happy
do it.
birthday already and I missed it?
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it again, Matt.
Yeah, it's like I had to sit through that whole thing to wait for the song, and we didn't, I missed it.
Do a solo.
Yeah, so don't enjoy.
Just
do
do
it.
a different rendition. Say it's your birthday.